Hi, I'm here with Moira Joiner, who's currently in Spain and about to play in one of the biggest games of the season in team basketball in Europe. And I just want to start by asking, how are you today?
I'm doing good today. I just got done with a practice, so can't complain. Doing great.
Okay. And the other one is at what hour?
Was the practice?
Yeah, the second one, because I'm guessing you have two a days, right? Or was it the only
Uh,
one?
yes, usually we do, but today we only had a lift and a practice, so it's nice.
Okay, because you have a game tomorrow, probably, right? So, or not really.
Yeah, well, usually we would, but
Hmm.
this time we have a little bit of a break, which will be nice for next week. So it's just, recovering, still practicing, but a little bit more recovery.
Okay, which is understandable because this
Yes.
Wednesday you'll be playing in game one of the EuroCup final against the favorites,
Yes.
Villeneuve. I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. What are your expectations for the series, as you personally and as a team?
Well, I mean, I'll start as a team. I think that, I mean, they're a great team. Obviously, they made it to the finals just like we did. So, you always have to take them seriously. And, all this preparation is to try our best to stop what they do best. Um, but I do think it's just going to be a really great game. I think it's going to be a great series. As our team, I think we have an advantage with speed and how we play in transition and how we move the ball. So I think it's going to be a little bit more of like focusing on what we've been doing well to get to the finals, and making sure we do that well again.
Yeah, and
Yes, and
personally,
then
yeah.
personally, personally, I mean, I as a player, I always pride myself in my defense. So when I look at a scout or who I'm going to guard that game, I take that very seriously, and that's first and foremost what I do. And then, as for offensively, I'm kind of a role player who um just kind of finds their way within the offense, with that offensive rebounding or cutting to the rim or things of that nature. I like to shoot as well. So I just try to put myself in positions where, our guards can find me.
Okay. And if at the beginning of the season somebody would tell you that you'll be playing in the final of the second largest competition in Europe, you'd be pretty fine with that? Or uh, I'm guessing that yes, right? But
Yes.
now since you have the opportunity, you probably want to win it all, right?
Oh, yes, for sure. I mean, we're here for a reason. We've been playing great, and it's not like we're going to be satisfied with just, getting to the finals. Like, we're going to compete for the championship. So that's what we want to do. We want to win. But yeah, if you would have told me at the beginning of the season we would have made it to the finals, I believe in us, but it's definitely like awesome to be here. So,
Especially since your team was already considered the underdog in the previous series.
yes, yes.
And but we will get to that in a moment because first I want to just take a huge step back and ask you, when did the decision to turn pro first appear in your head? And when did you consider it like a possibility of actually becoming a pro basketball player?
Well, um, if I'm being honest, I think I that's been my dream since I was little.
Hmm.
It's always been in the back of my mind of like, okay, I'm gonna work towards this goal, and there's other goals along the way, but I've always wanted to play pro basketball. I've had a couple of injuries that kind of set me back from that, and my faith wavered a little bit, but honestly, since I was little, I've always wanted to play pro, so being able to do it is like a dream come true. So,
Okay. How little are we talking about? Because you picked up the basketball when you were four, or started playing basketball when you were four. So,
yes.
was it already the plan when you started playing that you would turn pro eventually?
Um, I mean, that's like, I mean, it's hard for a little girl to know that,
Yeah.
but I definitely started playing when I was 4 years old. My parents coached me all the way until high school. So, I mean, that might be a better question for them.
Okay.
But they always tell me that like I had a drive for the game. I loved it. I was in the gym 24/7. And so I would say yes, you know. I think that was just always I want to play basketball for the rest of my life, you know.
Awesome. Awesome. And what was your uh maybe what was your routine as at becoming a basketball player? Like what's the most memorable routine that you've had? Do you remember?
Um, yes. Well, I'll start with I had two older siblings who also played sports
Hmm.
and basketball specifically, and my parents were very involved with them too and coaching them. So when I was little, maybe didn't have a team, I would go to the gym with my siblings and practice with their older team. And they're 8 years older than I am. So I was just, always in the gym. But for high school, I would definitely like train before school would even start. So I'd wake up at like 5:30 in the morning, get a workout in, go to school, have practice afterwards, and then throw in a couple training sessions in during the week if I could. So I was always, active. And then I also played travel basketball during the school year. So on the weekends, I would always be playing as well.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
So
Yes, a lot.
okay, okay. This explains, I mean, this explains your accolades in high school
Oh,
because Heritage High School, Saginaw, Michigan, two consecutive Class
yes.
A state championships, 2018, 2019, as well as I think 2019 you were, what was that award that you got? Jesus, I don't remember what was it called, but you were probably chosen as best high school player in the state. Was there something like that that I remember?
I was it was we call it like Miss Basketball.
Miss Basketball, yeah.
I didn't end up winning it.
You
Rakaya
were
Jackson,
runner
who's
up. Yeah.
yes,
Yeah,
I
you
was
were the
runner
runner
up.
up.
I was
Okay.
runner up.
Okay, okay. And
Yes, yes.
did the fact that you were runner up actually lit up a competitive fire underneath you that you were like passed over?
Yes, I mean, obviously it would have been nice to be recognized in that way. But to lose to Rakaya Jackson, she's in the
Yeah.
WNBA now, and she's a great, fantastic player. So if I had to lose to anyone, obviously she's a great choice. So
Yeah. And do you remember what schools recruited you and why did you pick Michigan State?
yeah, so honestly, I was never highly recruited. I mean, I was on like ESPN's list for
Mm-hmm.
top recruits or whatever, but I didn't have those big major offers honestly all the way throughout my high school experience. And I think it was because they were looking at me, but I wasn't the flashy player they wanted. I wasn't scoring 30 a game because I had a team, like a whole team that could contribute to those points in high school. So I wasn't necessarily recruited too highly. I had a lot of mid-major offers. And then Michigan State, they always had an eye on me, but they didn't offer me until maybe my junior year. And at that point, I really wanted to just be done with the whole
Yeah.
process and just be focused, I always love Michigan State and I love the fact that I could stay in the state, in my home state to play basketball. And so honestly, once they offered me, it was pretty simple decision. I didn't really want to elongate the process anymore. And I was just like, you know what? I love Michigan State. I'm going to commit there. So that's why.
Okay. Okay. And are you happy with the outcome now from like
Yes.
well, it's not the perspective is pretty well, the distance isn't that long, so we're happy with the
Yes.
decision for now. Okay. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So your career, a bit of about the negative stuff as well. You've mentioned injuries earlier. Like your career was
Hmm.
almost cut short because of concussions your
Yes.
junior year. How did you bounce back, and how did brain therapy look like? Because I've read that people from the Detroit Pistons were actually involved
Yeah.
in helping you, which is pretty
Yeah.
great that they had these resources. So, uh, how did you bounce back from that, physically and mentally?
Yeah, I mean, I will say that was probably one of the hardest years of my college career or life, honestly, because um, when you have multiple concussions. They the doctors were like, okay, you're done. You have to sit out for the rest of the season, whatever. Then come to find out they were worried that I would never play basketball again. So they were trying to figure out, okay, is it worth trying to come back to play? And in my mind, there was only one solution, and it was to like come back to play. So I did a lot of what you call brain therapy,
Mhm.
and it took so much patience because it's not like you rolled an ankle or you tore something where you can see like your muscles physically like getting better. It was a lot of just pushing myself to a limit and then stopping. So I could ride a bike for 5 minutes and my head would start hurting and I have to stop for the whole day. And for me, who I'm always constantly working, it was so hard to be like, okay, that's all my body could take for the day. And now the next day I do something else. And it wasn't always physical therapy either. It was like playing mind games. So my mind would uh, fire more rapidly than it did from the concussion. And it was just a lot of mental patience and just having faith that I was going to make it back. And not everybody thought I did or I would.
Mhm.
And it took like at least 6 months of just slow therapy until I got back to full health and I was able to come back and play. But a lot of doctors were concerned. And that's why we went to go get the second opinion at the Detroit Pistons.
Mhm. And how
Yeah.
did it affect you academically? Because eventually, once you graduated, you were a
Mm-hmm.
business major, right? But
Yes.
you also made the honor roll 4 times.
Yes.
So it's easy for stuff like that to like impact you in a way. So how did you prevent that from happening?
Well, honestly, I think um like my GPA for college, before that injury happened, it was a lot, higher than the next semester. So, I mean, it was really hard to keep up on everything. But I will say the professors and the resources we had at Michigan State were very understanding and helped me a ton. And then after that, the next year, I just try to work really hard to get back to that point. So,
Hmm. Okay. And now it's pretty, you're good, right? Everything is
yes,
just awesome.
yes, yes.
Okay.
I do
Okay.
have to, be aware, but I am good.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. And so are you still afraid that these concussions like might haunt you later on in life and in your career?
Yes, I think that's also, a concern of mine, a concern of my parents,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. That's in the back of their heads probably more than it is mine because I'm, a little younger.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is a concern, and I know that I can't for that one of the reasons I can't play basketball forever is, I have to protect my brain first. So yeah, I mean it's a little fear, but you also can't play the sport that way with fear in the back of your mind. So you just have to be careful and I wear a mouth guard every game and that seems to help a lot and I get certain adjustments done so I'm more I guess relaxed, through the shoulders and everything and my do neck training and
Mm-hmm.
those types of things. So
Okay, and also the mental aspect is probably important as well. Even
yeah,
more
yeah.
important. I mean, generally, it's pretty important when you're a pro athlete. So in your case, it's probably even more. Okay, I want
Yes.
to ask you about playing for Coach Susie Merchant for 4 years
Hmm.
and then adapting to Coach Robin Fralick's system in your final year. Because interestingly, in your final year, you had the best stats, even though you
Hmm.
played for a different coach and had to learn different things.
Yes.
And actually, local papers praised you for staying with the program, for your decision to stay one more
Yes.
year. So, why did you decide to stay that additional year that was afforded to you because of COVID? And, well, how did you feel about adapting to a new system and a new coach?
Yeah. I think everything happens for a reason, and that transition was very hard for all the girls that decided to stay because a lot of the staff was gone.
Hmm.
Coach Freilich brought in a whole new staff. The only person she kept was Dean Lockwood. If you're not familiar, he coached under Pat Summerett, and
Hmm.
like he is the best. He was there with me all 5 years. So, I mean, I think that him staying was definitely a check in my mind. Like, okay, at least I have him, in my corner. But yeah, I stayed because a lot of the girls were like wanting to stay at the same time. So we all together were just bonded, had a conversation like, okay, if we're gonna stay, we're gonna stay together and we're gonna try to, make it back to the NCAA tournament, which we did, and it was awesome. But adjusting to Coach Freilich's system, she is honestly, I can't praise her enough. I think she did a great job coming into Michigan State and just allowing, the people that have been there for years to have a conversation back and forth. It wasn't like she came in and was like, this is exactly what we're doing.
Hmm.
There's, I'm so strict with my things. She was able to be like, hey, I'm new here too. So let's work together and see how we can, advance or like get better as a group because this is all new for everybody. And I think I appreciated that so much. And she had such trust in me specifically as a player. And I mean, us as a team, but she showed me that, she trusts me as a player. And so I was able to play a little bit more confidently and more freely.
Okay. And I want to now ask you about your current team and the system, because it seems that you usually play the free, but it seems that the positions one, two, three are
Yeah.
interchangeable, right? So how does that
Yeah.
system look like, and just how does it feel to play in such a, as you already said, like a quick and maybe athletic kind of system? Is it the best system for you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I Lino decided to recruit me here because I fit his style of play. I love to run, I play defense, I'm interchangeable as you said. And yeah, the system is besides the five and maybe the post four player who has to guard the other four on the floor. I mean, one through three is pretty interchangeable, and then you can add the four in there sometimes. So yeah, I mean, you got it, I right on the head. Nailed it right on the head. Yeah, I just think that their system is fits players who love to move a lot as well, and I think that makes it hard to guard.
Okay. And
Yeah.
I want to ask you also about this year's EuroCup competition. Two games that were
Yes.
crucial for your team. Like on October 30th, 2024, you played against Galatasaray. And
Hmm.
interestingly, you were guarded by Brianna Fraser,
Yeah.
who plays like from 2 to 4, and she was like
Yeah.
the height difference was pretty
Yeah, I was
strange.
definitely shorter.
Yeah, but then Galatasaray sort of switches into
Hmm.
smaller players guard you, and there was a particular moment in the game. The score is 65-64 for your team, 2 minutes up until like the end of the game, and you're approached by two defenders. I mean, uh, you were waiting for a pass. You were unguarded initially, but once you fired a free, two defenders jumped in front of you, like 2 seconds left on the game clock, and you
Yeah.
drained the free, and the lead of your team is kind of, well, not secured, but it becomes way safer. And you
Yeah.
eventually won against the favorites. Again, the
Yeah.
underdogs, right? That's like the story of your season.
That's the
And
story, yes.
yeah, and you beat one of the best teams in Europe, and it was their first loss. Was it the free? Was it the biggest play of your pro career so far?
Honestly, I mean, remember vividly what play you're talking about. I don't know. I think that whole game was, I wouldn't put it down to that shot just because I think there was a lot of people that, rallied together on our team to take that game. And I tell, people if they ask me, "Oh, what's your favorite memory so far this season? And I say, that game because we were not supposed to win, and
Yeah.
we won and it was just so amazing. But I remember that shot and I think it was just, game time. I've been in a lot of moments like that in my college career where you just have to knock the shot down. And, that's what it was. I didn't really think too much about it, but yeah, it was definitely a great possession. So
Yeah. And the cool thing is that you actually don't take a lot of shots during the games. And for your college career, you're actually, I think, 40% more or less
hmm
from free. So how do you stay focused, even though you don't have the opportunity to just, just get the rhythm going, but once you get the ball, you're able to shoot it and nail it. So how do you stay so focused that once you get an opportunity, you make it? Like I'm
I
asking
mean,
about the mindset. Yeah. Yeah.
yes, yes, it's a learning curve. I mean, I think um prepar or mental preparation is also physical preparation. So like obviously you have to have confidence in yourself. But I know for me personally, if I know I put the work in with practices, I'm getting shots up, I'm doing what I need to do, then when that moment comes, if it's just one shot, then I have confidence in myself to knock it down. And I think that's really what it comes down to because I mean, some teams you might have more shots and other teams you might not, and that's just your role and you just have to, play with it. So I think it's just you have to believe in yourself and believe in the work you put in and when it comes down to it and the shot's there, you knock it down.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what you
Yeah.
did, right? I
Yeah.
also want to ask you about game one of the semifinals against Lyon, the biggest win when it comes to your team, probably because Lyon entered the game as favorites and you win by 31
Yes.
points, 93
Yes.
62. And I mean, what happened during the game? Because statistically, like all of your shots were just you were just making shot after shot after shot, like as a team. Everything was
Yes.
just like perfect. The game plan was executed to perfection. So, but I want to ask you, what were the talks before that game, and what was the game plan for that particular game?
Well, honestly, the game plan was just to use our speed against them because we knew maybe they didn't guard transition the greatest. And the other part of that is you're not going to have transition unless you get stops on defense. And it was our plan to, focus on our defense, but it became very clear throughout the game that if we couldn't play one-on-one defense, our game plan was shot because as soon as someone went and help side, they kick, like they moved the ball so well.
Mhm.
So it helped that maybe they didn't knock down a few of their shots that they normally would have.
But it was thanks
But
to your defense also.
yes, yes,
So, you know.
yeah, yeah. I think we were just really honed in on our defense that game and playing one on one, so there wasn't as much penetration and kick the ball. And then we were able to run in transition, and that's really what we did.
Yeah, and that was awesome. But did the fact that you guys weren't favorites actually help you? Or were you at a so or were you when you're at the stage like the semifinals, you sort of feel the pressure and sort of expect to maybe perform from yourselves a bit better?
Um, Honestly, I think that the fact that we aren't, I guess, the favorites helps in a way because we're able to just play with no pressure on our shoulders,
Hmm.
like we're made it here and let's see what we can do. And I think that goes with a lot of, tournament competitions or whatever, the underdogs usually can play pretty freely without any pressure. And it's the other teams that have that pressure to perform and to win, So I think that makes a difference. But honestly, we just, as a group, I think we have really good chemistry.
Okay. Okay, that's true. I mean, you can see it on the
Yeah.
court that you guys are just tightly knit on the
hmm
court. Uh,
hmm
is there like some team building involved off the court as well? Like you guys go to I don't know, like dinners together or cafes, like on your own
Yeah.
without the team getting involved. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. I think we're we're a bit of a younger team
Hmm.
also, not too young, but young, on the younger side for professional basketball. And I think that makes it we hang out probably a little bit more than other teams do. So,
And it's a pretty diverse team because your center is
yes.
Irish, if I remember correctly. Your shooting guard is from Czech Republic. You're
Yes,
American,
yes.
and you have two Spanish players as well. So
Yes,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, it's like important to just mesh together
Yes, it
nicely.
is.
Okay, and the last question I have: what are your plans for the off season after winning the Euro Cup? Obviously, you win and
Well,
then
yes.
it's like you finish the season in Spain and holidays, or you want to return to the States as quickly as possible and meet up with the family, or do some sightseeing and then return. What is there a
Yeah,
plan?
honestly, there is a little bit of a plan. I can't disclose where I'm going yet,
Okay.
but I am going to keep playing this summer. So, I mean, honestly, I do miss my family and I miss home and I want to get back there so badly. But this summer, I'm actually deciding to go play elsewhere for a summer league, and I'm really excited for that.
Okay, okay.
Yes.
And I hope you will enjoy that as well and you
Oh,
will
thank you.
excel
Thank
just
you.
as you're playing great here in Spain, which is awesome.
Thank you.
Okay, so enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you for finding the time.
Yes, thank you so much. No
Thank you.
problem.
Bye.
Bye.